What's up, everybody? We just want to say thank you for joining us on the Season 5 premiere of Episode 1. We just want to say thank you for all the love and support you've been showing to us, and we just want to say thank you for being here today as we premiere this brand new episode, Summer Camp Recap, featuring our very own Jerryline Lupe. So sit back, relax, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode.
Alright guys, welcome here to Res Roots. I'm over here with Jerryline. Jerryline. Hi Jerry.
Hello.
Say something.
Where am I looking? You or?
Anywhere. You can look up the sky, you can look up back here if you want to. And just talking to Mike while you're doing it, not while you're talking.
Look into one spot.
Well, yeah, so here I have Jerryline and we're going to be talking about her trip over the summer. This is also the OG of the Hope team. She was here when it all started. She was a part of it, which was 4 years ago, which is even crazy to think about. When we used to do live streams in here, and our what else? And we had our Hope team meetings in here. So Jerry's an OG. But anyways, so let's. I'm gonna have Jerry tell us about yourself and who you are and where you come from, your tribe, your credit card information.
Yay.
So I can get me those shoes on Saturday.
Ha ha ha.
That's good. But yeah, just tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Jerry. Yeah. What do I say? Oh, I am White Mountain Apache. I am also San Carlos Apache, but I kind of just leave that out and I just put White Mountain. I just consider that. I am on staff here at IBC, and this is my second year. Yeah.
Anything else?
So
you're a pizza genius.
Oh yeah, I'm a pizza genius. Still
the OG at Little Caesars.
Apparently. Too. So, 6 years as a student at IBC, and it is going on 6 years at working at Little Caesars. So that's crazy. I'm committed.
Yeah, so you're OG.
Yeah, the OG.
Or an auntie.
Am I old enough to be an auntie?
Yeah. There's that whole new sayings that's been going on that I've been seeing. People, younger people call older, like 20, mid-20s, late 20s, unc or auntie. So they're like, chill out, I'm not an unc. Is that my fault, unc? I was like, and I looked it up. It turns out I'm in the unc age group. So I'm like,
Ooh.
So I'm not unc yet, but.
You are.
Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate it. All right, so yeah, so it was pretty interesting. I remember. So I don't know how you can cut this part out if you want to, but it's up to you. But I do remember, when you first came here to IBC, and with, your ministry of what you wanted to do. And then I remember your senior year, everything kind of shifted and changed because you were like, children ministry, like, nah, bro, I'm good with that. Like, y'all got it. But then when this ministry opportunity came up, the Lord really changed your heart in that. And it was pretty cool to see. But I guess I want to have you talk about the ministry that you were called to. What ministry did you go to over the summer?
Okay. Well, so the ministry was in Maryland. So me being in Arizona, going all the way out to the East Coast to Maryland, Edgewater. It was a Christian camp from the age 4 to 16, and it is Camp Wabana. Yeah.
So how was the calling? Like, what was...
Yeah. Yeah, like Will said, coming here to IBC as a student, it was all like, okay, I'm going to graduate, gonna be with the youth group after. And then I think it was my third, no, it was more like my fourth year into IBC that things shifted. I'm like, not really a fan of kids, not in a bad way, more of like the ministry shifted towards to young adults, ages 20 to 30 in that way. And then kind of just my senior year, that's when like getting involved in children's ministry, not full time, just like small snippets here and there, like our ministry immersion trips, just small involvements throughout my senior year. And then how I came to be aware of the camp, or one of the instructors here at IBC, he comes out, he teaches a block course class, and so he comes out like twice a semester, I believe. But he came out in the fall, and I remember him telling me about this camp. He's like, you should consider this camp, like maybe trying something, just for me getting to know me and me getting to know him. Because he also attends the church too that I attend to when he comes out to Flagstaff. So that's how I know him. And I remember saying like, no, it's okay. Like, he was trying to recruit me. And then towards the holidays, Christmas, he asked me again. It was the same thing. Like, no, I'm good. And then he came back in the spring, and I remember that, like, I was like, no. And then he came back again. He came back with this, I remember meeting his wife, because he brought her out in May. It's like 3 weeks before graduation. Well, actually, it was the last week of April. Yeah. And he was telling me about it. And then I was actually thinking about it. And I'm like, huh. And then I just started praying about it. And just pondering on that thought of just me working at a summer camp for the whole summer instead of just having like a short experience. And I remember looking online at their website. They had a YouTube video, and I was like, you know what? After I think it was probably 4 or 5 days into praying, I'm like, I think I'm gonna do it. In a way, it was kind of crazy too, because like I said, from Arizona going all the way out to Maryland, to where I don't know anybody besides him and his wife, but they were only going to be at the camp for 1 week. So it was going to be me flying out there, getting to know some more people and to work alongside them and serve alongside them and meeting children, sharing the gospel with them. And I remember just thinking when I was doing the application, it was a long process because like it was a long application, but it was worth it. It was good because then they needed information about me, what I was involved with, my testimony, just helping me to get out there to if I was a good fit. And then I remember having a phone call interview with the director there at the camp, and he was like, you should work on getting your plane ticket right now. Just saying, because then as it gets closer to camp, it's going to be expensive. And I was shocked. I'm like, this is really happening. I'm like, wow. And I remember the day that I was leaving, my flight day. I'm like, this is actually happening. I'm actually doing this. I'm like, I'm ready to go. I'm packed. It's going to be the whole summer. And I know through the middle of summer, I was kind of just like, I couldn't believe that I was there. Like, I couldn't believe that I took that step to serve there for the summer, which was kind of shocking to me, but it was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know, because I remember when you first brought that up with me, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, just do it, Jerry. It was like, I was actually like just wanting you to experience something and kind of get out of the bubble for a while, because you've been around here for a while. And I was like, it'd be nice to try something new. And then when you told me you are officially going. I was like, yes, that's cool. So my next question I wanted to ask you too, and again, you could share maybe a couple of highlights of you being there at the camp. So like any God highlights you have. I know it's a heavy question, so
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy question, but I got this.
you got it.
Yeah. The first one would be from week 2 of camp. So I was a camp counselor, and the age group I had was 10 and 11-year-olds, which was considered the older junior girls. And one of the girls, during free time, during the kids' free time, we as counselors had a little station we were assigned to. And I remember that second week I was assigned to the playground. So it was just kind of me being there, hanging out with the kids, playing with them, making sure nobody got hurt, making sure that there was no fights. But I remember just sitting there on the slide, and some of these girls joined. And one of them, who I gotten to know, because she came week 1, and I gotten to know her, and then she came back week 2. And so then she would ask me, like, where are you at for free time? And I told her, and then, because she wanted to hang out with me. So then we were at the playground, and I can't remember how, but I shared my testimony with her. I forgot how that led to. But I remember sharing my testimony with her, and it was actually a good experience for her because I know she needed to hear that. But the reason I tell that highlight, because that's just a part of the highlight. But I remember later on that night, it was probably 2 in the morning. I remember having her come to me and say that she needed to talk. And she was crying. And so I told her, I was like, we can step out on the hallway and talk. So we did. And it was late. I know that for sure. It was really late. It was probably like almost 2. This 11-year-old just wanted to talk. And I remember her telling me that about my testimony. She said how it was very encouraging for her to hear, because she thought that what I went through, like, she thought she wasn't alone. And so I remember her just sharing that, because she thought she was so alone. And then when she heard mine, she realized that she wasn't, and she just started crying. And I'm like, me as a camp counselor, I was like trying not to cry, but I was like, I can't help it. I'm like, I'm gonna cry. And I remember encouraging her during the day of like how I spend my time too with the Lord. Is one thing is that I like to journal, and usually my journal can vary. It can be like a prayer journal, or even just prayer journal, meaning my prayers to God, just me talking to Him, or even just something that stood out in my day. And I was telling her this is how I connect to God. And like when I felt alone during those dark times when I felt like I had no one. And I remember her on the last day that week, it was when we were all saying goodbyes, when her parents picked her up. She came up to me and hugged me and said that I am going to take your advice. I am going to journal. And I'm like, ugh, this made me cry. I was like trying not to cry in front of her mom, but I'm like, ugh. But like, that was a God moment. Obviously, the Lord used me within, not saying throughout the whole summer, but He used me within that week to have her meet her and to get to know her, and for her to hear my testimony as well. Yeah, she still comes to mind at times. Yeah, for someone so young. Because like for me, it was at 16 when everything was dark, and I didn't start journaling until like 18. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Any other stories or highlights?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Okay, I didn't really. There's funny highlight stories, but no, those can wait.
If you want to, it's up to you.
My God, highlights. See, that was one. Oh, okay. So, what was it? I think another highlight was just doing the Bible studies too with the girls. It was always after lunch. And for me, just, okay, I have, I guess, I am used to doing Bible studies with like youth, young adults. So for me to like learn with young youngsters, it was interesting, but it was fun. Just because like it also wasn't with that age group. There was some younger girls too. It was like 7 to no like 8 to 11-year old. So like how to get creative when doing Bible study with them, and that was the fun part. I think just because like they would ask questions and like about the Bible, or like what's a Pharisee, or like are we talking about spiritual darkness or physical darkness, because we were in the book of John. And like just the questions that they would ask, like I guess I never really thought about like in a way like why are you asking this, but it was in a way for them because they didn't know. They're just children who are very curious about the Lord, about the Bible. And I remember one specific question was, what do you say when you pray? Like, how do you just know what to say when you pray? And I'm like, that question stuck with me because I'm like, you don't know how to pray? Obviously, I didn't say that, but that came to mind. And it really hit. I remember one of the nights was that, dang, I'm like, she's asking me, how do I know what to say? And I'm like, I've never been asked that before. But just within those moments of like doing Bible study with them and their questions that they ask, like it made me sad, but I'm like, how are they gonna know about God if we don't answer the questions that they have? So that was one of the highlights as well. Yeah.
Nice. No, it's cool because, like, I just remember you were giving, us student life and your co-workers, us student life updates about how the ministry has been going out there for you. And, it wasn't, I was encouraged, and, it wasn't a surprise for me, too, of just seeing, like, I already knew you were going to make a big impact there. It was pretty cool. And I remember seeing you were sending me, like, the little notes they left you and stuff. I was like, dang.
Oh.
Even those were giving me, like, tears. Like, dang, Jerry's going to make a big impact over there. So,
It's like, Miss Jerry.
yeah. Yeah, so that's really cool. And I just want to, just affirm you, encourage you in that way. Like, I'm very proud of you of taking those steps and going that far, too. It was a lot of very nerve-wracking, but it was cool to see how you took that step, like, and trusting in the Lord with that. And I know it was hard too, but so my next question is, what was it like? So I know that you had a lot of like teammates, or fellow peers there. So what was your relationship like with the people that you were working with? So like, was there any highlights you have from the relationships you had with your teammates there? I don't know what you call them, your co-workers,
Yeah, so
your myco.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just call them my team. I know,
Yeah.
like, there's, like, always my I've said that.
Yeah.
But I did have, so, like, there was 2 counselors to a cabin. And so that was it was just kind of like your other counselor was called your co. It was just, like, because you weren't going to be alone in I wouldn't say cabin. Again, you wouldn't be alone in a dorm room with all these kids by yourself. So that's why we called it your co. And I had one of that, and she was a sweetheart. But like overall, I just called it a team. They were a lot of us were new. I didn't find that out until like the end of the summer that most of us were new. There were some returners from like a year before. But like most of us were new, and I guess building those relationships during our training week. Training was like almost like 3 weeks before. It was almost 3 weeks of training, getting ready for camp, getting ready to serve the children. And just within that time of training, it was getting to know those that were there. And I didn't, I'm grateful for that because it felt like a safe space. I think for some, I don't know, like for me, I wasn't scared of meeting new people because like I'm used to meeting new people. Like I don't mind, like people don't scare me. And I'm like, but like, it was fun. There was moments of where it just needed to talk or just like, hey, are you doing okay? Like, or just like a hug or be like, you're encouraging. It's like, you're doing a good job. But those relationships, they were needed. I know that because then you can't do ministry alone. You need a team. And just getting to know them, but also having some authority above you, like someone to go to that can oversee you and just hear you. You need that. And how would I say it? So there was one for the female counselors and then there was one for the male counselors. In a way, she was kind of our boss. She oversaw the ladies. And so it was always like checking in on us every Monday night after the kids went to sleep, snacks, a Devo. Those relationships that I made over the summer, I'm still in contact with them. It's just hard because like the time zone difference, like what, 3-4 hours?
3 hours.
Yeah. So, and I'm really glad I went because then I know that if I didn't, I probably wouldn't have made those relationships. Mm-hmm. But I know that the summer working with the team, it was hot, humidity, but like we did it. And like we couldn't have done it alone though. Yeah.
And I remember when I picked you up from the airport and you kept saying my code. I was like, is that her name? I was like, my code. I was like, it's actually a pretty cool name, not gonna lie. I was like, yeah. She's like, oh no, my counselor. I was like, oh, it's like my code.
Like, who is that?
Yeah. So the other one I wanted to ask you was like you were saying you were gonna talk about later. So about funny highlight. Oh. Because I know you got plenty.
Oh my god, it's hard.
It's like, can I bring up the one where they were calling you mom?
Oh,
oh
sure.
It's like Mama Jerry. You should tell that story. I was dying when you told me that one.
Oh my goodness. Are you telling it?
Yeah. Just see, it's all you.
It was the one at the playground, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was making sure. Okay, so it may have been week 5. Yeah. Nah, yeah, but see. So in our schedule, I remember there's an activity we do as a cabin, and after that activity is it goes into counselor's choice, and so you do something with your cabin. It can be with only your cabin or with the other female cabins. And so I remember we were at the playground, and so I just kind of wanted to keep it chill. There was just a little bit shade because it was so hot, and I'm like, all right. So how does the playground sound? Yeah, let's go. And so I remember they were asking me to push them on the merry-go-round, and so I did. And then after that, we just kind of sat there, and then I think I had 7 girls. But then it started to, like, I don't know how, but we ended up playing house. And then I don't know how we got there. And then they asked they asked me, and they're like, Miss Jerry, do you want to play house with us? And I wasn't thinking, I didn't think anything too big of it. I was like, yeah, we can play house.
Okay.
And then it was just like, okay, they were already assigning like who's gonna be who, and then so it was like, it's like, you can be the sister, and I'm like, they're like, Miss Jerry, you can be our mom, and we're all your kids. And it just took like, in that moment, and I'm like, why? I didn't say why, but like, it just took a turn. In a way, it just kind of, I don't want to say it got sad, but I don't know if I should say that part.
Yeah.
But it was like, they were all, so like, all you hear is these 7 girls, like, okay, they're all girls. And so, like, we can be a little wild, moody sometimes. But, like, it was just like, Mom, we're hungry.
Yeah.
Mom. And that's all I could hear. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. I'm like, what did I get myself into? It's like, they're all calling me Mom. And I'm like, I can only handle one at a time. And it's like, Mom, when are we going to eat?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was laughing.
I was like, oh, my goodness. And then I was like, we're not going to play house anymore.
Yeah, sorry,
I'm
I'm not
like-
your mom.
It was funny because, like, it was always one thing. I was like, Mom. It's like, Mom's not listening.
God.
Because, like, there was, like, I'm only one person, and it's like someone's trying to talk to you when there's another person that's trying to get your attention, and the other person. But that was funny. That just took, like, a big turn that I didn't think through.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, so Mama Jerry. Yeah. That cracked me up because I was like, yeah, I could see that happening with a bunch of kids. And they just all attack you at once. Like, Mom. The other story you should share, too, is when you were, I don't know, is it fishing for crabs or catching crabs? Which one is it? What is a specific way of saying fishing for crabs?
We called it the crabbing pier.
Crab pier. You should talk about that.
Okay, so,
Because I remember that's one of your highlights, too.
oh, yeah. So, one of the highlights was... okay, that was a highlight. Like I said, during free time, we're assigned somewhere. And I remember one of them was... I was a roamer, so I was roaming, just walking around and checking other stations, areas, on the counselors if they needed help. So it was just roaming. And then I remember going to the crabbing pier, and one of my friends was there. She was on the pier facilitating an area. And then I remember walking, and I was like, I'm going to go see her. And so then... I remember she was chilling there, and then she was telling me like how chill it is most of the time and how much she enjoys being out there. Yes, it's hot because you're in the sun, but she enjoys it. So crabbing pier is just, you're catching crabs, like actual crabs. So it's just like fishing, but you're catching crabs on a pier. And I think it was chicken necks. Is that what it was? I don't know. You basically put it on like this end of the string and put it in the water. Yeah. So it's like a fishing pole, but without the reel it in. You just have a string attached on a stick. But that's what we were doing. And there was one of the girls there, and then there was 2 kids there, a girl and a boy. And the boy was fishing. And for the kids, they need to have life vests on. But I remember she was asking me, she's like, do you want to help? She's like, it's actually fun. She's like, you can stay. She's like, you can hold the net. I'm like, okay. And like, I didn't know. So this is a thing that they do, not just at the camp, but those that live in the area as well.
Yeah.
Around the bay. But so I remember grabbing the net, and then I remember they were pulling up the string. They felt something, like a little nudge, so they were pulling it up. And then I had the net, and I was ready to, like, swift it up into the net, and it was a crab. It was a blue crab. And, like, I don't know, that just made me so happy. I'm like, it's a crab. I think I think just because I grew up on fishing as a kid with my family and how fishing is so exciting because you catch a fish and then you get to eat it. But for us, we couldn't eat the crabs. We had to put it back in the water, like catch them and then just we got to release them. But that was just, I don't know. I was just so happy to catch a crab. And I remember telling Will that when I got back, I'm like, I want a crab tattoo.
Yeah,
And like one of the girls, the counselor, she has one on her shoulder. And I'm like, huh. And I'm like, I wouldn't mind to have a tattoo of a crab just for that story. Because that, I don't know. I remember catching that. And then like, it was just, it was so exciting. It's like, felt like a little kid again that you, like the excitement.
yeah.
And then I remember within that moment, I'm like, I want to do the crabbing pier now. And I didn't get to do it, but I got to do it, I think, the last week I was there. Yeah. And I remember the kids enjoyed it and they wanted to come hang out. But it was just, that was one of the highlights that for me. Yeah. Catching crabs. Actual crabs.
Yeah. And I was cracking up too when you told me that when you were like, you didn't even have any seafood over there.
Oh, yeah.
It was like you live
sad.
right there by the ocean.
I know.
It's like nothing, no seafood.
I like seafood, especially by the bay.
Yeah. Well, do you have any other stories or highlights you can think of, or you done?
I have a lot. They're funny but I know we don't have time for that, but I think there's a lot of patience that you need to have when working with kids. Yeah, I'm not saying I have patience. I do, but I'm not saying it in a prideful way because I had to learn too because working with kids this summer, like for the whole summer in humidity, which I'm not used to for the whole summer. I like the dry heat.
Yeah.
I miss that, but like working in the heat, I'm like, I had to tell myself, I'm like, I can't complain, especially in front of these kids because if they see me complain, they're going to want to complain too. So, like, just understanding that God is in control, that we don't have control of it. He's in control. But we're having the patience to work with these kids. It was a lot because there was a lot of, like, questions that need to be answered. Like, Miss Jerry, like, they're trying to get your attention. And then, like, another one be like, Miss Jerry, Miss Jerry, Miss Jerry. Or, like, can I go to the nurse? Or, like, it's like my foot hurts or I need a Band-Aid. And it was a learning experience. But within all of that of serving and getting to know the kids and sharing the gospel, there was also funny moments within that, especially not just as a team, as a staff, Camp Urbana staff, but also in your small groups with your cabins with the kids, because then the things that they would say would just crack you up. And I'm like, what? Or even just the TikTok trends. And I'm like, what? And then sometimes, like, whatever that you would say, I'm like, did you just say that? And, like, part of me would want to be a kid with them, too. But I'm like, no, you got to be the bigger person. And sometimes you got to, like, bring them back, reel them back in. It's like, hey, we got off track, but come back in. But there's just a lot of funny moments within the summer learning experience. Yeah.
It's funny because you already beat me to my next question, so I want to ask it. No, because I was going to ask you, like, what were some things that you have taken away from serving over there, and yeah, talking about patience. And so, but do you have anything else to add to that question? If you
Yeah. So like I said, it wasn't just a team thing, but we also had someone who would oversee us. One for the females, one for the male counselors, and every Monday, shoot, I forgot what you call it. My brain is losing. I'm just gonna say boss, but there is a word for it. Camp director. No, I don't remember. But so kind of like just in our position, because me and Will are both an RD and we oversee the RAs. I oversee the female RAs. Will oversees the male RAs. And so we had someone like that, and she would meet with us. So basically, we were the RAs and she was our RD. That's how I would say it. But it was every Monday night, and so at 10 o'clock, 10:30 is when the kids would be in bed. It's like, all right, lights out. And so after that, we would just like have the door crack open just a little bit, and then we'll go out in the hallway, and then we'll meet together. So the female junior counselors, there was 4 of us, and then our RD, she would come and join us. She would also bring someone from the kitchen staff too, and she would bring snacks and treats, and then she'll like share a little well she would share scripture with us, and those were always encouraging because like obviously you get snacks and they were always different, but like just the scripture too of what she would share with us, because sometimes we needed it or something that stuck out to her and that she wanted to share with us. And then at the end we would always pray. Yeah. But one thing that I would take away is also that too, because with my position as RD, like just serving here as an RD for a while now at IBC, so I would meet with the girls and the RAs, but then I guess I never actually thought of like sharing scripture, like doing like a little like study with them. It's mostly like, how are you doing? Hanging out over coffee, breakfast. But like, I guess in a way, not in a bad way, but it felt like in a way like I kind of forgot, like, you're not doing this alone. You need God. You need His word to also help guide you in this ministry, because just as that was a ministry, this is also a ministry as well. Serving kids over the summer, serving the females here at IBC. It's like, how can I apply what I've learned as well? And one thing was like, I can bring in scripture as well. It's like, how did I oversee that? And I always thought that was encouraging. I'm like, dang. It's like, it doesn't just have to be over breakfast. It doesn't have to be just like hanging out over coffee. It can just be something so simple as reading God's word together, praying together, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, just like even I didn't even think about that either. Like, you know, I'm talking about like not just physical bread, but you know, the bread of God. You know, here's the word of God. This is something that can feed you as well. That's crazy. And I think that mind blown. I'm taking that too. No, but I also just want to say again, though, Jerry, thank you for your willingness. I think you're willing.
Thank you for having me.
So I think you just had to be here.
They said they were going to bring me coffee.
No, I didn't say that. That wasn't me. It's like, I got coffee in my office. You can get that later.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just give you that. No.
I'll just come right in.
Yeah, but thank you though for sharing what the Lord's done over the summer, and it's pretty cool. Even when you came back, and I can still see how much the Lord has really shaped and molded you and like transformed you, even just from that time you're over there in the summer. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited to see what the Lord will do in the future for you, and because seeing that happen there, I was like, yeah, I can see this is really helpful for you. So I'm excited for you and proud of you. So yeah. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys have a good day. Stay tuned. I also forgot to mention, what season is it again? Is it season 5? Even I got lost, bro. I was like, season 5, Emmanuel's hand, that's all I see back there. It's just his hand. But season 5 is the kickoff of the new season, Jerry, the first episode. Yeah. But yeah, so stay tuned. We and Emmanuel have been putting together a whole agenda, so looking forward to see what God does through Grassroots as well. So again, thank you guys for listening. Peace.